The marriage of Isaac and Rebekah, as recorded in Genesis chapter 24, is one of the most detailed and beautiful love stories in the Bible. Their relationship serves as a profound example of faith, obedience, and God's providence in marriage. This study explores their story, emphasizing the spiritual principles and lessons we can draw from their union. In Genesis chapter 12 verses 1 to 3, God promises Abraham that his descendants will become a great nation. In Genesis chapter 17 verse 19, God specifically promises that Abraham's son, Isaac, will be the heir of this covenant. For God's promise to continue through Isaac, he needed a wife who shared the faith of Abraham. Abraham, therefore, ensured Isaac would not marry a Canaanite woman. Genesis chapter 24 verses 3 to 4. Like the sin of King Solomon marrying hundreds of wives primarily to cement trade and peace but also promoting pagan worship in Israel. 1 Kings chapter 11. Godly marriages play a vital role in fulfilling his purposes. Believers are encouraged to seek partners who share their faith. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 14. KJV. 14 Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? Abraham commanded his servant to go to his homeland to find a wife for Isaac. The servant was to trust in God's guidance. The servant swore an oath to follow Abraham's instructions precisely. He was also told not to take Isaac back to Abraham's homeland. We must pray like Abraham's servant to be led by God when faced with difficult and life-changing decisions. We must study God's word as well in order to find the correct path. The servant prayed for a specific sign. The woman who would offer water to him and his camels would be the one God had chosen for Isaac. A camel can easily drink 5 gallons or more, and Abraham's servant had perhaps a dozen, so this was a much more major offering than you would think. Sometimes praying for signs can be useful when a decision is very hard, and it can help renew our faith in God. Once I prayed for a Bible and God guided me to a $10 study Bible in a used bookshop that normally sells for over $100. Within 10 minutes the owner received the book and sold it to me brand new in the box. I cherish and praised God for his wonderful gift till this day. Before the servant had finished praying, Rebekah arrived. She met the exact criteria the servant had prayed for. Rebekah demonstrated kindness, humility, and a servant's heart by offering water to the servant and his camels. The servant immediately worshipped God, acknowledging his hand in the encounter. God often answers prayers in ways that affirm his involvement. Gratitude and worship should follow God's intervention. The servant shared the story of his prayer and God's response with Rebekah's family. He emphasized God's faithfulness and leading. Rebekah's family recognized God's hand in the matter and agreed to let her go with the servant. Rebekah agreed to leave her family and travel to marry Isaac, showing faith and courage. God's plans require obedience, trust, and a willingness to step out in faith. Families play a role in affirming God's will in significant decisions. The meeting of Isaac and Rebekah. Genesis chapter 24 verses 61 to 67. Isaac was spending time in meditation and prayer when he saw Rebekah approaching. The servant introduced Rebekah to Isaac. Rebekah veiled herself, a sign of respect and modesty. Isaac took Rebekah as his wife, and he loved her deeply. The marriage brought comfort to Isaac after his mother Sarah's death. God-centered marriages bring love, comfort, and emotional healing. Mutual respect and faith form the foundation of a strong marriage. We must trust in God's timing and planning. Oftentimes we don't meet our true love when we want but when we are ready. Me and my wife struggled having children and thought we never would after 8 years, but today I have 2 beautiful girls and a house that I prayed for to raise them in. Prayer plays an important role in our future and not giving up hope in God. For even when you least expect it, God answers our prayers in his own time. Character matters when prayers are answered, and it can even improve when we are waiting for them to be answered. I developed more patience, kindness, and a deeper appreciation for parenthood that I saw others were taking for granted. God was changing my heart in important ways during my waiting period. Rebekah's kindness, humility, and willingness stood out. Obedience to God can also lead to blessings, but it is not a guarantee. Oftentimes following God's ways and the obedience all by itself can be rewarding. Each person involved obeyed God, and the result was a blessed marriage. Rebekah was barren, and Isaac prayed earnestly for her. God answered, and Rebekah gave birth to twins, Esau and Jacob. Barren women in the Bible always point to the birth of Christ. It also points to the resurrection of life from the grave. Isaac favored Esau, while Rebekah favored Jacob. This favoritism led to family conflict and deceit. Challenges are part of every marriage, but prayer and unity are vital in overcoming them. Favoritism and deceit damage relationships and have lasting consequences. We must pray and involve God in every aspect of your relationship. Developing good character is also vital in relationships. We must look for kindness, humility, and a servant's heart in a spouse. We must also keep our faith while searching for a spouse. Trust God's timing and plan for your relationship. We also must have good, open, and honest communication to prevent misunderstandings. It is also important to follow biblical principles for marriage. The story of Isaac and Rebekah provides a timeless model for godly relationships and marriages. Their union was marked by prayer, faith, and obedience. Despite their imperfections and challenges, they fulfilled God's purposes. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 22. King James Version. 22 Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord.